Hi everyone, it's Jo from Cloth Bums, and with me is the lovely Louise from Lou Makes. I'm so excited to have another handmade maker come and chat to me, so I'm really excited. Hi Lou.
Yeah.
Could you just tell us a little bit about you?
Oh, about me. That was one that I didn't think of. There's not really much to tell. I grew up down south in Middlesex, and we moved around quite a bit. I hated sewing when I was at school, funny enough. I can remember my teacher, Mrs. Cap, and she basically just told me don't bother. I couldn't understand. Well, I couldn't understand seam allowances. I couldn't get it. So I ended up doing woodwork, which equally wasn't so good. But then, yeah, fast forward a few years, I had my daughter, who's now 9. We used cloth nappies with her, but I developed postnatal depression after I had her. And I spoke to my doctor, and rather than going on tablets, we decided that we would try other things. And that's how I started getting into sewing. And I literally started with bandana bibs. And then I moved on to dresses and eventually cloth nappies. And yeah, then we moved up to Chester. We now live in Chester in 2016. Had we've got 3 other children, we've got 4 children in total. My youngest is Charlotte, she's 18 months. And yeah, and last year, the business just took off really. And we've been busy ever since.
So you said you started making bibs and things. I actually, when I was diagnosed with postnatal depression, I did CBT and I ended up journaling because I'm not as creative to make anything. So I ended up doing journaling. That really helped me. What made you decide I'm going to have a go at cloth nappies, and then actually I'm going to keep doing these cloth nappies? What sort of made you decide that's going to how you're going to focus things?
I don't actually know. As I say, when I started, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And I literally started off, I've still got the bandana bibs, I haven't got one with me to show, but I've still got them, the original ones that I started with. And then, as I say, I used cloth with my eldest, and I've used cloth with all 4 of my children. So, since 2011, I've been using cloth. And I just decided to give it a go one day. And I tried one, and it failed spectacularly because I used a cotton outer and had, as I say, no idea what I was doing. And then I did more research, and then I started to use some bought patterns. And then I moved on to designing my own patterns. And yeah, I was approached by probably my best friend at the moment. My best friend, she asked me if I would make her some dragon tail nappies. And that's where Lou Makes really started to get busy after that. Before then, it was kind of, I was just doing all sorts of things, candles, soaps, you name it.
All sorts of bits and pieces. And you're quite about your design process, and that you start from scratch and you get pencil and paper and you just start going with what you're going to do. You're very open about sharing your sort of research and development and stage with your nappies. When you're designing a new nappy, are you designing for what you see as maybe a gap in the market, or are you more designing just for your own curiosity, what can be done?
When I design something, I do a bit of research about and look around to see what people are looking for. For instance, our night nappy, when I developed that, I'd seen a lot of people saying that they didn't like snaps on the front of the nappies because they dig in, especially when you've got snaps on a cover as well, which is where the fold down rise came into it. So there is no snaps on the front. I've actually got one here to show you. And so that was that. And then there was a big gap for pretty nappies. I think it was only one other nappy maker brand that does them with a pretty outer. Most of them are just the bamboo, the whatever they use, the hemp, cotton, whatever. So I decided I wanted to make pretty ones, and then these have got absorbency up the wahoo. So that was, I noticed that there was a big gap in the market for night nappies not having enough absorbency, not being pretty. Yeah.
I've got one of your older plain night stars in the library. It's actually out on loan, so it's not here. But yeah, I've got it on loan for somebody who said, I've got a heavy wetter, help me. And I was like, take this and try it. So
yeah, I've had a couple of people say that they've tried lots of other brands and this is the only one that lasts them overnight fully. So that's quite an achievement for me. I love my night star. Yeah, that. And then when it came to the All-Star, I had a lot of people saying to me, oh, you know, I love a double gusset nappy, but I wish they would be, you know, you could boost them more because you get double pockets, but there's not enough boosting and all of that sort of thing. So I thought, right, I'll make something that's got literally absorbency that will last from birth to potty. So you can chop and change how much absorbency you add in. You can add even more in if you want to because it's quite wide. So yeah,
and I quite like that. That's developing as well because I've got a slightly older.
That's the China ones.
And that one had sort of good inserts, but a little bit on the smaller side. Smaller side inserts. So that was the smallest one. But I thought it was still a good nappy, and it lasted my son really well. I really like it as a nappy. But then when you've released the newer one, which is back in the UK made, I think.
Yeah.
The inserts are much sort of, yeah, they've got a bit more going on with them. This one's still slightly damp, actually. I've had to take this off my clothes horse just to get this one in. Yeah, you can have some more. Sorry, my little one's like, more TV. But I noticed that, I've only just noticed it today, funnily enough. With the old one, you had just your standard sort of female poppers here, but I've literally only just noticed this, and I've been using it for a little while now, that these, you've actually got male and female on the top right, so they can snap down. Is that for going underneath an umbilical cord, or just to create a slightly different shape for baby? I literally only noticed it this morning. I said, oh, I'm going to have to ask Lou.
All of my nappies that I've made in the UK have had that feature. They've all, since the start, my all-in-ones and all-in-twos that I started with, had a female socket on top and then the male studs on the bottom. That is because I've got one here. On the wings, we've got a hip snap, which we wanted to have. So if you wanted the biggest rise for the biggest setting on the waist, it's not going to be a stud that sticks into your baby. It's a female one.
It's the female one.
And I've literally done that from day one. I've always done that. One of the design things that I thought of, and yeah, I've ran with it ever since. And yeah, these are bigger than the China ones. China was a big mistake.
You live and learn. You live and learn.
You do live and learn, and this is what they were always supposed to look like. And you know, these can be washed at 60. They're the real ones.
Yeah, I have to. I'm loving this puddle duck design. Yeah, we've really enjoyed this. And as I said to you, as I messaged you the other day, actually, when I'm testing a nappy, I always like to try and give every nappy one shot to failure. Basically, put it on, and as long as my son hasn't pooed in it, just leave it until it leaks. I have to take it off because it's nighttime. And this, with the full inserts and everything, and it did 9 hours, and then it was bedtime change, and it was soaked. It wasn't going to do any more, but 9 hours out of this, I was so impressed. I don't think I've come across another day nappy that's done it that long. And I did tuck the frills in, just because, you know, a little bit of extra containment, but yeah, no leaks, no nothing. It held absolutely brilliantly. I was so impressed with this, with my son. So yeah, really great. But I literally only just noticed the difference in the poppers this morning, and I'm supposed to be quite observant and notice these things, but never mind.
Well, yeah, they were, when we had the China ones done, they were supposed to have had that feature, but it never happened. They sent the wrong design, and then by then they'd already made them all and we didn't change it. So we only actually did 2 runs with the China factory. And then I moved on to, you know, we had our UK unit.
You brought it back to the UK.
Everything is now made here in the UK. I don't use China to make anything except the pool.
Fair enough. You've actually, you're expanding quite a lot. You're doing lots of different things. You very kindly sent me a bamboo terry to try, which we're absolutely loving at the moment. And that will go in the library. Would you briefly tell us what is in your range? What does Lou Makes do? Because people probably don't know you do as much as you do.
We're actually reducing. I've had so many different designs and I've changed things so much, and it is getting confusing. So I want to make it simple. We are going to be doing initially 3 nappies, and then I'll be adding the 4th at a later date. So we will be doing the Night Star. Mm-hmm. We will be doing our Bright Star, which is our budget nappy. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've sent you one of these actually.
I haven't got a Bright Star, but it's on my list. It's on my list to get.
It's literally just a shell and a trifold.
Oh, I'm such a fan of simple nappies like that. I really am. When I first started, when I first started cloth with my eldest as newborn, I used the Bambino Mio Duo, so it was just a piece of cotton folded and then I love it. I just love it. It's so simple.
It's simple. They dry quickly, you know. Yeah. So the Night Star, the Bright Star, and then we're going to be doing the pull-up covers and the pull-up nappy as well, which I'm working on.
Are you still keeping the All-Star?
The All-Star will come back. I wanted to make a couple of changes to it to release version 2 as an upgrade to kind of move away from, you know, the China ones. So it'll be fundamentally the same design, it's just a few tweaks.
So watch this space, it will be back.
It will be back. It will be back. At the moment, we're just focusing on what is easier to use, and you know, the Night Stars, the Bright Stars, and our pull-up nappy. You can't go wrong with those, really. You just shove them on.
And the pull-up nappies, you're going up quite high in age range, aren't you?
Yes. The pull-up nappy. I haven't got one here. Oh, I have.
I've got one here.
Older. Ah, you've got one. That's the old design. This is another older design. Yes. I've got a new design.
Yes, you told me you were working on something extra new as well.
It's so much better. But yeah, they're going up from sort of newbornish up to 14 years. Nice. There's a massive gap in the market for older children, and they don't necessarily want to be wearing a traditional nappy. They want to have a bit of independence. I used to work in care, and you know, I used to look after a couple of young adolescents. They were 12 and 13, and they hated the disposable ones because they felt like a nappy. They looked like a nappy. They felt like a nappy. They hated them, but they needed them, and changes were constantly a battle. So I decided that, you know, everyone deserves a bit of dignity and independence. If they have the ability to go to the toilet and may just have the odd accident or whatever, these will be, you know, you need something there. And
but that doesn't look just like a disposable baby nappy.
No. I mean, these are waterproof. The outer here is waterproof. We have, you know, it's got a pocket, you can boost it, but it's fit like pants. So it looks like pants. Especially, you know, I've got people who've got children in school who are my daughter's age, my 9-year-old's age. She requires, I can't think of the word now. I don't want to say nappies, but, you know, incontinence pants is what I'm thinking of. And she gets embarrassed because you can see the shape through her trousers. You can see that she's wearing a nappy. So that's where this was born. And yeah,
I love seeing all your R&D and the designs. You very kindly sent me over a few sketches, like over time. So what would you think of this? I love it. I wish I had the talent to be able to do it, but for now I will just watch in awe as you do it.
I am very
flags from the cheering line. Go, you go. So you've been on quite a journey, and you said, like, from last year you've really noticed an uplift in interest in your particular brand. I think that cloth nappies here are starting to see much more interest. People are more interested in the environmental footprint that they leave behind, especially as they become parents. I think you automatically just start thinking about, what am I leaving behind in the world for my children? So people come quite interested to cloth nappies. What do you think is, like, what's next for Lou Makes? What do you sort of foresee coming up as more people, more and more get interested in cloth. And this is where the libraries also we try and play our part by saying, yeah, cloth's great, go for it.
Other than the nappies and the, you know, all of the baby side of things, I'm wanting to get into more of an adult market as well.
Mm-hmm.
So things like CSP,
Mm-hmm.
Really, really popular at the moment are the Luna pants,
Mm-hmm.
which, to be honest, I prefer to the CSP. And again, you know, they're comfortable. So we're wanting to move into more, so we're not just focusing on the children's market, we want to move towards adults as well. Things like kitchen towel, you know, reusable toilet paper if people are open to that, period underwear, period pants, all that sort of thing we want to move. So we're including everyone. And I'm also working currently with I can't say too much, working with somebody who, like a group of people who have children with special needs that require a special type of nappy. That's all I can say on that at the moment.
Sort of more customized work, seems to fit specific needs.
I wanted to try and get more of the medical community using reusables. So we've, you know, working with the doctors and we're designing things that can be used in a hospital.
Oh, that's great. So, that's I will watch eagerly then and hear for news and updates on that, because I think you're doing fantastic work. And what I really like about any nappy manufacturer, be it a handmade, or I really like it when people are open to new ideas and say, actually, that didn't work, I'm going to change that, I'm going to tweak that. Always that search for trying to make it better. And the cloth nappy market, it can be huge because we're trying to get more and more people into cloth and more babies into cloth, but they're all different shapes and sizes, and not, you know, something that's going to work for one might not work for the other. And I think there's such scope for people to be playful and to be willing to try new designs, new things. And yeah, I'm just so excited to see where the cloth market goes in the next 5-10 years, because I think that it's going to go up and up and up as people realize more the massive environmental impact that just changing to cloth nappies and cloth wipes would have on the footprint that they leave behind. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what you come up with next. I always love hearing your updates, and yeah, I'm just so excited, and I'm always willing to try new things. So if you've got new nappy stuff and new prototype, you come talk to me. I was just saying to my husband, I need another baby because I need to keep testing these nappies. I'm not sure that was the argument to win him over with, but there we are. So thank you so much for talking to me and just telling us a little bit more about what Lou Makes is about. It's been an absolute pleasure, and hopefully the rest of your day you can hear my kids are starting to bonkers in the background. So yeah, thank you so much for talking to me. It's been absolutely great, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with next.
Thank you. Bye.